What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Garage Geopolitics. My name is Matt Livers, and today we're going to be talking about mercenary groups. So this weekend there's been somewhat of a notable event that took place in Russia as far as a mercenary group or private military group not behaving in a way that Vladimir Putin would have liked to have. So we're going to look at a couple different things pertaining to mercenary groups today. First off, what is a mercenary group and what kind of role do they play on our planet? The second one is a quick look at some of the largest mercenary groups that we have around the world. And the third one, what is going on with the Wagner mercenary group in Russia this weekend, and why should I really care about that? So let's go ahead and get started. First off, standard definition. A mercenary is or a merc, sometimes referred to as a soldier of fortune, is a gun for hire, a private individual who joins a military conflict for personal gain, or is otherwise an outsider from the conflict and is not a member of any other official military. Mercenaries fight for money or other forms of payment rather than political interests. Thanks, Wikipedia, for that one. So we've maybe heard the word mercs before as far as mercenaries or gun for hire. There's no country in the history of the world that has been able to distance themselves completely from mercenary groups. So mercenary groups have been around for a long time. Let's go ahead and look at some of the roles that mercenary groups sometimes fill in for. So, private guns for hire, they're contracted out for these various reasons. Let's see, our largest one is for local unarmed guards for facilities, residence, projects, job sites. Now, this can be resource control, it can be for a specific company, and so that's one of the reasons where paramilitary groups can be contracted out. Physical threats for premises, security management consulting, security training for staff, risk assessment / threat analysis, informational services, armed guards for facility, and standby security right on top of mobile escort. So we can see over there on the chart, this is more of the international and local, and it does prioritize those physical security for premise, and then unarmed guards for project sites is kind of the larger percentage locally. Internationally, we see our highest percentages with security training for staff, as well as security management for consulting. And so those are the types of roles that these mercenary groups kind of fill into pertaining to the niche or the placement that they have for the global community. Now, these are a couple logos of some of the larger mercenary groups that are out there. I picked 5 of the more common ones or larger ones to briefly talk about for this little Garage Geopolitics episode. But again, thinking back to all of the different roles that they have within a country or on an international scale can be quite large. And so here are the 5 bigger companies within the mercenary group community. We have academia. This was also known as Blackwater is now a part of this mercenary group. 7,000 acre training facility in North Carolina, one of the largest in the world. Have the oppressive army of about 20,000 people standing by with that. We have the Defend International, or the International Challenge. This is a company that trains private military personnel from Latin America. The company has been used in the past to help out with U.S. conflicts. We also have the Aegis Defense Services, company that provides services for the United Nations and the United States for various oil companies. So we see that resource protection aspect with it. We see the triple canopy made up of former U.S. Special Services, and then our larger one of this group, G4S Secure Solutions. They employ somewhere up to 625,000 employees. That is a huge chunk of employees, as well as being employed in over 125 different countries. I was poking my head around that G4S Secure Solutions, and they have a very expanded network of different things that they provide for countries or for individual uses as well. All right, so with the topic, I wanted to point out very clearly that no country is innocent as far as not working with paramilitary groups. We have this unfortunate negative connection with mercenary groups. Gun for hire is usually not a positive thing. But every once in a while, countries will use these resources they have available to benefit themselves politically or benefit themselves geographically. And so here's just a very quick snapshot of different contractors that the United States, Russia, and China have been using around the world. And so again, this is a very common feature of countries to use these groups when necessary, when trying to build up for various reasons. So on to the third one. We kind of talked about what are mercenary groups, some of the bigger ones. Now we're going to talk about the Wagner incident that took place this weekend. So kind of summarize from what I've read from all the different news sources and just kind of investigating stuff this weekend. We have, I'm going to butcher this name, so forgive me, Yevgeny Prigozhin is basically the head commander general of this Wagner militia group, mercenary group within Russia. This individual was in prison in the early 80s and 90s and got out of prison and became the personal chef of Vladimir Putin. They became buddies after a while, and then he got put in charge of this very large mercenary group. I don't know what the credentials are for this. I haven't really looked into what type of requirements you have on a resume, but this seems a very unique circumstance for him to get hired. Anyways, on Thursday or Friday last week, there were some tensions within the Russian military. The Wagner group accused other officials within Russia of attacking their men and unfortunately killing a lot of their men. And so the Wagner group decided to kind of nip that in the bud, and they decided to announce, I don't know if it was an attack or just a movement of their troops to Moscow. This caused Moscow to kind of go into a lockdown state, blocking off certain roads, having nobody outside in preparation for this group coming into Moscow to correct the political organization that had been unfortunately killing their soldiers. And so we have this incident took place this weekend. It is now since de-escalated. The leader has been moved or relocated into Belarus, where they are undergoing negotiations. I'm not sure what that means, but I do know that Putin was not very happy about the media coverage that he had, or the things that he said on air about what he was going to do about Russia's politics. Kind of looking at the other private military companies in Russia, the Wagner Group is just one of many. Now, if the Wagner Group would have walked into Moscow, they would not have been able to successfully take over Moscow by themselves. As you can see here with this image, there are lots of different mercenary groups within Russia employed by the Russian government to do various tasks. So why should you care about this? Well, we have had this conflict going on in Ukraine for the last year and a half. Now, with this somewhat internal conflict in the Russian military, we now have weakness that has been shown to the West and to the rest of the world that has never been seen before. And so we now have one military group within this Russian facet of paramilitary mercenary groups now challenging the person that has been providing their income. We now have a little bit of instability. We now have a possibility of change, for better or for worse, within this conflict of Russia and Ukraine. So, a little bit longer episode for today. Please comment if you have any questions or thoughts that you would like to share for this Garage Geopolitics. Looking forward to those. Give me a like if you like it, or subscribe if you want to be real crazy. That's all that I have for us on this Sunday. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you next time.